It ain't because we hate each other. Bluebirds and redbirds are both birds, but they don't get along. Pigeons and eagles don't fly together. The buzzards, everything hangs out with its own. White people, culture's different from black people. Puerto Ricans and Indonesians cannot integrate. Egyptians and Germans cannot integrate. Australians and Mexicans cannot integrate. They have different foods, they have different music, different cultures.
You're gonna see in the video that Ali was giving warning to the black community prior to the integration time period. He was an anti-integrationist, not because he was a racist, but because he did not believe in integrating with the people where they could be the boss and the owner and the ruler and the dictator over that people. He suggested that we should be given land, money, training, so that we can get out of the house of integration, or before we even integrate into that house, stay out of that house and develop our own selves. He made that very clear. And he spoke as a very intelligent athlete. Not only was he the greatest boxer of all time, and arguably the greatest athlete of all time, but he was also a mental scientist. It was hard to debate him. It was hard to get around him intellectually and mentally and educationally. He made some sound right points, and they have bear witness to be true after a 50-year time period and test. We can clearly see that integration, the social movement of integration, has failed Black America. It has failed America. Integration will not work without reparations. Integration is not reparations, neither is affirmative action. EIEDL or EID or CRT or whatever they are calling it today. It is not reparations. Okay, so let's be clear on that. And just like integration, integration hijacked, just as the social movements we made mention of, affirmative action and all that stuff, it was hijacked. And so too with the civil rights movement. We made mention of this before. The COINTELPRO movement, led by J. Edgar Hoover, funded by the federal government, assassinated the prominent true black leaders of that day. Then they replaced them with puppets. And so now we saw the push for civil rights, the push for human rights hijacked in real time, and then they transformed it into integration. That's what Ali is speaking out against at that time.
So we can't integrate. Yeah. We ain't gonna never have no peace. The culture, the nature's different. I don't hate you. We can eat in your restaurant. We want to marry your women. We got your women now. It ain't nothing we can't do today. But these things the dog got. I see dogs on television eating out of the same plate with white people. I see dogs in the buses, and they do everything with the dogs. So I ain't getting nothing the dog ain't got. So really, ain't nothing in this integration. I need some land. I need some jobs. My people need jobs. We need something so we can build and do for ourselves, and we must have some land.
The first game or the first fight was chattel slavery. We got ourselves out of that. The second fight, the second game was Reconstruction. We mastered that. Now this end game, or the third game, if you will, is this integration game. We have not yet to master that. We are mastered by that. And our political masters in this, they match the time period that we've also been in integration, approximately. We've been in this integration time period for about 59 years. We've been voting blue 85% of the time for the last 50 years. And I'm thankful now we have the teachings of technology and the ancestors coming back. So now we can hear Muhammad Ali, the great fighter, the mental scientist, in real time, as he was speaking out and against integration of that time 50 years ago.
That's a whole nation, 40 million, man. They don't tell you the truth about that. They want us to stop having babies. They give them birth control. They're paying black women not to have babies.
It's 40 million, not 20 million?
Yeah, they're paying black women not to have babies now. They got all kind of plans to stop our race.
Well, everyone.
So when we know all of
everyone's
this,
getting into birth
so
control,
now
not just
a man with my knowledge, what can you tell a man like me now? What's your suggestion? Ask your question. Okay, you talking to me, not a dumb Negro or a pork chop eater, don't know the truth. I'm free now. I woke up. Now, what are you gonna tell me now? I done gave you my solution, some land of my own, doing something for myself like you, England, and America do. Now, I know you're not against the black man. I know you're not against me having my land, are you? I know you English done ruled and slaved forever for a long time. But do you still today don't want me to have my own country and build for myself and govern myself? Would you think that's bad if we thought like that? What's your solution to my problem? 1974, then you all just, some white man just flew from New York to England in an hour, less than 2 hours. You all are so progressive. You're walking around on other planets. Now, today, I'm intelligent too now. What's your suggestion? What should be my movement? Integrate?
And now we can hear the teachings of a Tony Brown 40 years ago. And why do we introduce Tony Brown to the conversation to get some of this juice? It's because Ali, being an anti-integration, saying, well, we should not be in this house, we should not be at this table. MLK in his last days was also very similar. He said, I fear that I moved my people, I integrated my people into a burning building. Yes, okay? And this is the social movement that we've been in under the last 59 years or so, okay? Now, why do we bring Tony Brown to the conversation? Because while we are in this integration, assimilation, social movement, he said, if you're going to be in it, at least move politically astute, move politically correct. This is Tony Brown talking now.
The Democratic Party at some point in time has to be shaken out of its racist attitudes. And it has to be during one of these 4-year periods shown that it did not get the black vote. And because it didn't get the black vote, it didn't win the presidency. When that happens, it will change. I don't see any hope of the Republican Party embracing a black agenda at all.
He says, please don't be a political football passed around. Take a stand for yourself. And what he is saying is very clear. It applies today, although 40 years ago echoed. He said, you're going to have to let the Democrats dry and die. Let them wither on the side. Before they dry and die, tell them why you're not going to support them. Tell them they're going to dry and die. Watch them dry and die, politically lose, and then go back to them and tell them, this is what you will always get if you keep playing around with our tangibles and our reparations and laws on the books to protect us as promised. This is what you will always get. This is the political stance that the community must take. This is what Tony Brown was saying. If you're going to be in this integration time period or this integration social movement, then at least move politically correct along these lines. She said, I do not see a vision for the Republicans concerning the black community. That was his political opinion. He said, but if you're going to dance with somebody, you might want to dance with the Democrats, but you're going to have to move with them very shrewdly. You're going to have to control them and not allow them to control you, as the case been for the last 59 years. Now, what people are saying today in real time, I don't disagree. Many people are saying, we're going to go vote for Trump, not because they are trying to side up with a white supremacist. No, I don't think so at all. And Trump is a white racist. No disrespect to Trump. Hey, no disrespect to Trump. He's a white racist. But now the question comes into context. Who is the greater white racist? Who's the greater white supremacist? It is no question at all. It is Joe Biden and the Democrats. So if you are going to vote for a monster, books and laws are being put on the books for protection. So in all honesty, what they are doing is actually moving in accordance with Tony Brown and what Tony Brown said. So that's why we equate the two of them together.
Yeah, equal rights in a mixed society.
In this society, where you still own the government, you still own the train station, the railroad plant, the lecture plant, these television cameras, you still make all the food, you control everything, and I'm like a leech on a dog's back. All I can do is just wait for you. I can't do nothing for myself. Integrating in your society don't mean I'm doing nothing for myself. You doing it all. I want to do something for myself. I'm tired of depending on you. You might get broke one day. Your stores might close. Your gas pumps might cut off again. I'm relying on you now. Can I have my own land and country?
Well, you've got your own freedom here, for instance. I know you're luckier than many black people
I'm
in
not talking
America,
about
but
me.
you're your own
I'm
boss.
speaking for my nation.
I know, I appreciate
If I was
that.
representing just me, I wouldn't be talking like this, because I got it made. I'm talking for my brothers.
Okay, so let's recap. We talked about Ali and his anti-integration stance, not because of his so-called racism, but because of his realistic outlook as to one group of people integrating into the house of another people. We coupled that along with some of the doctrine proposed by MLK in his last days, how those two were in connection. But then we also brought into the conversation Tony Brown, because we said if we're going to be in this integration movement, which Ali advised not to be, which MLK advised not to be, which Malcolm X and other prominent black leaders that day advised not to be. But if you're going to be in that movement, in that social movement, then at least move politically correct. That's the juice for today, fam. We poured, we stirred.